big time. We call them a nickel bag, dime, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? And a little envelope deal. And we always that mirror, the straw, and the razor blade. And, you know.
Now, was that before speed was kind of crystal clear looking, when it was still powder? Maybe
Yeah, it was powdery looking.
like yellow or pink or whatever,
No.
white?
It was actually white.
Yeah.
It was actually white until one batch I got this man down the street. I remember him very well. And I got a hold of that. And we were going to a party that night, a whole bunch of us, the bikers, you know, it's Halloween. And I remember I was dressed up like a playboy. I looked pretty good bat in those days.
Got any pictures? Just
Not
kidding.
on me, they all got stolen. Anyway.
You are listening to Walmart Radio on Eureka Live.
Go ahead and enter your social.
Gently place him on his back and pet his belly if it gets too intense. However, do not punish your cat for this behavior.
Kurt escaped from rehab a couple days ago. He bought a ticket back to Seattle, but nobody's seen him since he got back.
It started a different kind of social life. The thing that I didn't find that useful was some of the steps. I mean, they're not all bad. I'm not like some people you read on the web that totally slag everything that they stand for off. But I think, you know, step 4 and 5 can be very dangerous with certain people because they're moralising addiction, and you could have someone from a very vulnerable background, someone who's been abused, someone who hasn't got much of an ego, someone who's very, very downtrodden. Doing that can actually make them worse, whereas they were designed for low-bottom male drunks in the 1930s. And so I don't think everything about the steps is a great idea. I certainly think apologising when you do something wrong is a good idea and all that sort of stuff. I don't find that particularly hard, and it's something would have always done anyway.
We're live at an accident. Well, I remember my mom telling me it wasn't classy to watch an accident, so I'm just going to go ahead and go back to my yoga.
So, but after a while, I think it has less value because you have actually put the drink down, and then you should be looking, in my opinion, for a sort of more self-empowered solution, and you should be changing yourself and have the strength, the personal strength to beat it. And, you know, as I say, I haven't had a drink for over 8 years now, so I've kind of put it behind me. It's not something I want to do anymore. I live a completely different lifestyle these days, and I'm happy. So I don't want to go back to my old ways. So, yeah, one of the things that it does bother me about all this, I mean, another reason for having the blog, I mean, I regret calling it Recovering from Recovery.
That gives them a sudden clear glimpse of you and her in the world the old-timers knew. You will then have created an object of art. Your simple lines about where you went, who you saw, what they said will speak to those children, and they will feel in their hearts the humanity of our times. You can't pick up a phone and call the future and tell them about our times. You have to pick up a piece of paper.
Clancy. I remember that word Clancy all the time. And then I started going to meetings with rides. I would all go in a group. And I ended up going to, where did I end up going next? Years go by, I ended up going to Dana Point. This is the first time I've ever been to a detox thing. It was Dana Point, California. And this man, you know, somebody suggested, you know, drinking was getting really out of hand. I went to Dana Point. It was actually a nice place. It was dual, co-ed. That was the detox part. Then I was suggested I go to it was like a 60-day, it was a woman's house. It was like a 60-day program.
Right.
Great big old house in Santa Ana, California. And big old fancy house. Actually, it was a big old Victorian home, you know, a big old table, and I got to cook some food down there.
Maybe should we move outside so he can smoke a cigarette?
Oh, yeah, why not?
Pop out there. Do you smoke cigarettes? I don't even know.
You better bet your boots.
Okay.
I'm not giving that up yet. I don't care what they say. I was taught in Arkansas, don't give everything up right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to give up coffee, cigarettes, and the booze comes first.
Right.
You'll go bananas. Keep talking. I have to be on the radio.
Well,
I have to run a radio.
actually, I gotta go home, but let's do another interview another time. I just want to see you keep coming back to meetings, and I really appreciate you getting sober. And I'll keep seeing you here. You know.
Okay, buddy.
Okay. Thank you.
You have a good one.
You too. Nice to see you, Tree.
I don't know where you like it.
It's how you die and how soon you die. But a lot of times I don't think it's a problem. So if they really think they're in control, try giving it up just for a short period of time. Now, for monks and nuns, we have a period called our Rains Retreat. It's coming up soon, the end of next month. July, July the 26th, we have our entry to the Rains Day. And that means after that time, for 3 months, we don't come here. Because if we came here every Friday, then you'd take us for granted, and you wouldn't appreciate us anymore. All these jokes you wouldn't really appreciate, which is a good segue for today's really bad joke. So those people who don't like bad jokes, get out now or put your fingers in your ears, because here's a terrible one. It's about addictions and the problem, realizing there's a problem. Because there was this poor man who had intestinal worms. And he went to see the doctor, and the doctor said, well, there's two treatments. There's the chemical pills, the medication. He said, I don't like these modern chemicals. I don't trust them. They do terrible things to the body. So, well, you got the natural way. He said, I'll have the natural way. He said, it's a bit uncomfortable, but it always works 100%. He said, I'll take the natural way. He said, okay, well, every day for the next week, exactly at noon, 12 noon precisely, I want you to put a suppository, now up your backside, of a mini cheese sandwich. And now that shows what addiction does to you. That little worm was addicted to a chocolate bar at 12:05 every day for a week, and that caused his death. We don't think it's an addiction, but it does kill us. So, I think I heard that when I was a kid, but anyway, it's a nice one. Stupid one, but who cares? So, it's the addictions they do kill us. Once we realise there's a problem, it's something we can do. And the first thing is just give it up for a little while. Can you do without a chocolate bar, little worm? It's only for a day. That gives you an idea how strong the addiction is. So we have our 3 months Rains Retreat. So we often give up things for 3 months. Believe it or not, the 1 year, people kept on telling me, Ajahn Brahm, you're addicted to tea. You always have your cup of tea. Cup of tea in the morning, cup of tea in the afternoon. I said, okay, I'm going to give it up for 3 months. And then all the monks came up to me and said, please don't do that. I said, why not? Because they said another monk tried that, and he was a pain in the butt for 3 months. Without his tea, he was such an awful person to live with. No, I said, I'm going to try it to see if I'm addicted to it. So I gave it up for 3 months. I was very happy, very peaceful, no problem at all. This is actually how you see whether you're addicted to something. See, give it up for a little while, just temporarily. Now the point is, if you say just give it up totally, sometimes for some people that's too scary. And the nice thing is, you can give it up just for a week and then see what happens. It's a little bit of a trick psychology, because if you give it up for a week, what happens is, you can go back again. It's not so scary when it's not ultimate, have to give it up forever, that's it, no more. And it's actually, that's the way our monasticism works. As a monk, you can stay as a monk or a nun, however long you like. If you don't like it, you can leave and go back into the world again. So there's no fear in it. You're making a commitment, oh my God, do I really want to do this? Do I have to go back again? Sometimes it's the same with, I really shouldn't say this with marriages. You know, it's never a one-way street. If it doesn't work out, you know, you give it everything you've got, you can always leave again. And you know what?
And so I took some of that, and it was so gross, I didn't even, I didn't feel it. But eventually, my neighbors wanted me to watch their cats, and I got really drunk. But you started to beat it? Alright. And here's an excerpt from The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. When I got home from school, Father was still out at work, so I unlocked the front door and went inside and took my coat off. I went into the kitchen and put my things on the table, and one of the things was this book, which I had taken into school to show Siobhan. I made myself a raspberry milkshake and heated it up in the microwave, and then went through to the living room to watch one of my Blue Planet videos about life in the deepest parts of the ocean. The video was about sea creatures who live around sulfur chimneys, which are underwater volcanoes where gases are ejected from the Earth's crust into the water. Scientists never expected there to be any living organisms there because it was so hot and so poisonous, but there are whole ecosystems there. I like this bit because it shows you that there is always something new that science can discover, and all the facts that you take for granted can be completely wrong. And also I like the fact that they are filming in a place which is harder to get to than the top of Mount Everest, but is only a few miles away from sea level. And it is one of the quietest and darkest and most secret places on the surface of the Earth. And I like imagining that I am there sometimes in a spherical metal submersible with windows that are 30 centimeters thick to stop them from imploding under the pressure. And I imagine that I am the only person inside it, and that it is not connected to a ship at all, but can operate under its own power, and I can control the motors and move anywhere I want on the seabed, and I can never be found.
Here's how it starts, okay? You shoot dope, first of all. You get to a point where you can't afford to buy enough dope to get you high, all right? You start speedballing, okay? This way you got coke and dope together, all right? After a while, you can't afford to do that no more every day either. So here's what happens. You get on the methadone program, all right? Once you get on that methadone program, what happens is you get to the point, again, where you're not feeling it. So then you try a little game with the doctor, raising your dose, until you're like 150, 200 milligrams. Even double your dose, 300 milligrams, 150 twice, does not get you high. So what does the average dopamine do? He goes out and buys a benzodiazepine, which happens to have a reaction with the methadone. Now when that reaction occurs, it puts you into a state of relaxation, nodding, and so on and so forth. And the more benzos you take, which are very cheap compared to buying a bag of dope and stuff, you continue to use it.
This track is called Take a Look by Doc Vapors.
Troublesome, they say. Yo, this is dedicated to those who loved and those who hated. Still made it. Yo, it started in the late 70s. Newborn baby, examine how the seed grows. So torn, maybe by fate, just wait to see the plot with its ups and downs. It all begins in a small town. Mom's got a beautiful voice, she's singing pop, lays the bass lines. Love for music ingrained, it only takes time for young minds to sow game from the elders. This young boy's future foreshadowed soon as I tell you. Held the guitar before a potty train. As soon as he could spell, started writing poems explaining what he could see through a child's eyes. Addicted to seeing with dreams of a serene place to find means of expression. It was rough then. Didn't even know his brothers, but others would live in the house placed by the state he wanted to get at. Mom and dad changed, and everything got strange. Take a look at me now. Yeah. Take a look at me now. Yeah. school days were crazy, didn't really fit it. That brown face stuck out and others didn't get it. Nigga was commonly replaced and his name is stained. How we seen the world, he refrained from human contact. No athletics, no credit amongst his peers. And it stayed like that for about 6 more years. In solitude, who can you love but yourself? Who can you hate but yourself? Where can you hide when you escape from yourself? Granddad was a good friend, then he was gone, now he's alone once again. Mom's too concerned with dreaming to pay attention. Pops heavy in the cold 4-5 zone beyond comprehension. So all of this tension, stay inside, hiding within. His big brothers moved in, he swore to God they hated him. Just like the mother pale grills from the playground that beat him till he stayed down. Take a look at me now. Yeah. Yeah, take a look at me now. Yeah. Wow. Yo, times change and some wounds never heal. Sometimes to make a man out of boy, you build skill. He's a chill cat, but he wasn't always this way. Your teen years slashing at a gauge of the dangerous place. Stained in the ray clouds with sunshine was attainable. Mistakes, yeah, he made a few, but found solace in a misfit crew. A pen and pad in a ghetto lab, knowing that hip hop was the path that God chose for him. I seen him this morning and smiled, it was good to see him. Remembering all the dark places he used to be in. He smiled back, recognizing I knew, cause I was there for all the shit he been through. Strange feeling, no longer a villain, making demands with my enemy, realizing that he is me. It's like I'm finally free. I never knew that he could make me so proud. Must be my grandfather looking at. Take a look at me now.